Hello everybody. Last we had talked about calculating the time for meridian passage. Today I'll just solve few questions on meridian passage to find out a latitude by finding out the altitude at meridian passage. Now in these questions here I have purposely left out certain things here so that I'm just talking actually about the importance of understanding the figure drawing. Now in this case, when we are talking about moon, we can find out the meridian passage either from the almanac given here. We have date 29th and the longitude is west, so we take the next day and we talk about upper meridian passage here. Lower meridian passage we will be talking in the next topic. So we take the approximate meridian passage for 29th, what is given here. Take it for the 30th. Find out the daily difference. And then we find out the longitude correction, which we had discussed in one of the previous topics there. Being west, the daily difference is added. And we get LMT meridian passage. But this question was that you had to find out the exact meridian passage. Then this would not be acceptable. You'll have to go with 360, LHA 360. And again, using your longitude, you get your GHA, which is inclusive of V correction here. Then you go into your almanac, assuming that the date is 29th. You go for the 29th and look for a GHA which is lesser than 40 degrees, 12 minutes. And you get it here 29th, 01 hours. Of course, here I just know that the date is changing, so I have not gone further up. You'll have to go continue following up everything and then finding out your LMT to see if your date is the same. So here I've just taken a shortcut here and just using the 29th date, I have used my LIT to find out my LMT. And my LMT comes to 28th. So this GMT is wrong. It should be the 30th. To have my LMT of 29th, I should have the GMT date as 30th. And this I had already discussed with you earlier that you can make out from here that what time is your moon on Greenwich. That time the GHA would be 0, and we see that it is somewhere here between 16 and 1700 hours. And our longitude being west, so it will be on my meridian only later. So I should have been taking this date, not the earlier. So I look at this date here, get my time 01, and from here I get my V correction, which is available to me here. V correction is here, and I look at it in the tables and find out my time, which we have already discussed earlier, and I get my GMT. So this is my corrected GMT. This is the way I will find out a GMT meridian passage. From the tables itself, nautical almanac, we get our declination, D correction. This is what I have got here, and we require HP. So we take the HP also from here, 54.5. And seeing here that the declination is decreasing, I have got D correction minus, and I found out my declination. Then we get down to calculating our true altitude using index error, height of eye, get apparent altitude. For moon, we have got two different corrections, main correction and HP corrections. And if it is upper limb, we subtract 30 minutes and we get a true altitude. 90 degrees minus, we get the zenith distance, and when we are solving these questions on meridian passage, we refer to it as meridian zenith distance. Rest of the places it will be just plain zenith distance. So I got my zenith distance right. In this case, I really do not know which side the sun and moon is. Is it north of me or south of me? No bearing, nothing has been given in this question, right? So I just know the declination is south. So there are two possibilities which exist. Either you have got south latitude, south declination, or you have got north latitude and south declination. So latitude, different names, same names. Now here we can see that my latitude ZQ is declination plus my zenith distance, and in this case it is zenith distance minus declination, and depending upon what it is we find out our latitude either by adding the declination or subtracting the declination from zenith distance. Now something would be given in this question to you. Now here I have just brought in that my dr is 40 degrees south. Something should be given to you, then only you can decide which one of these two is your correct thing. So here dr latitude is given. So this is correct, this is wrong. So here my latitude is 40 degrees 10 minutes south. So this is the diagram which is absolutely correct. Now most of the books, they have got a thumb rule of naming the altitude and z distance opposite to the azimuth. But azimuth is not given. You do not know is it north or south, as I said. So to use this thumb rule also, I would have to draw this figure to figure out which way, what is my azimuth. So now in this case you can see my azimuth is north, right? So my altitude would be north, and my meridian zenith distance, as it is opposite, named opposite, I will name it opposite. And then it says same name z, different name, subtract. Same name z, same name, subtract. Well, this was I had purposely missed out on these two things here so that you can understand this figure drawing, because figure drawing is important for you to get, rather than, because to even know what is your azimuth you'll have to draw your figure. Of course in your question something or the other would be always there as an indication to get to the correct answer, rather than having ambiguous answers of north or south here. So something would be given, either the latitude would be given, or is it north or south of the observer will be given. This is the diagram what I have drawn it on observer's meridian for the same question. You have your declination, your latitude. Latitude is this. Now in this question again I have left out your dr, okay, and no azimuth is given, and I have calculated my meridian zenith distance. Now this is star, as we had talked earlier. Basically, not knowing the GMT really does not make a difference, because the declination does not change much as long as I am sure about my dates. So I can get my declination right from here and use this and get my latitude. But for us, we have to find out the time for meridian passage. It will be there given in the question for you, for your examination part of it. So you'll have to calculate your time. So the time, as I said, can be calculated using meridian passage of Aries, though it is not in use, just an academic reference what I'm showing it to you. So I get my SHA from there. Here the SHA is given to me, and RA in time, meridian passage Aries, I get it from the almanac, and I find my time for approximate time for this. But if the question is given to you, that means he is asking you to find out the exact time, so you'll go by 360. You'll find out the SHA what was given here, longitude, GHA Aries, and then on that day, now you can see here, this is the here, GHA Aries, I have got it here. So I assume that the date is same as 20th. I look for it here, 03. This is my increment, and this is my GMT, taking into account that the date what is given to me is the correct day for GMT also. Once I found out my GMT date, I should confirm with my LMT. So I use my LIT here and get my LMT. Now here my LMT is 19th day. So my GMT date should be 21st. So what I do is I add a sidereal day to the LMT what is given here, and sidereal day what we had already spoken earlier was 235604, because we want a day later than 19, so we add. If it was a day earlier, we would subtract and get my LMT. Now my LMT is correct. This is my LMT. I use my LIT and get my declination. Get my GMT meridian passage. So my GMT meridian passage is 21st, 03, 41, 26. If the question was asked, so most probably the examiner wants you to find out the exact time, so you will go with this equation here, LHS 360. Use your SHA longitude, get your GHA Aries. This is 175. Here, this is what I get at 3 o'clock if the date was correct. But as I told you earlier, I would rather go in and look what time is my Aries is crossing my Greenwich. That time the GHA Aries would be 0, which is between 17 and 1800 hours here. What you can see, being west, I should be looking at the time after this time rather than seeing earlier. Of course, for the examination part of it, you'll have to continue following solving the whole sum and then say that the date has changed. Here I've just taken a shortcut and I figure out that the date should be 21st and my time is here, 21st, 03. I get my increment, use my increment tables for Aries and get my minutes and seconds. So that is my exact time for meridian passage. Now this exact time, of course, here it is quite close to whatever is given here. By coincidence, it's quite close, but you can get quite a lot of a difference here between in this case when this thing is there, when you're finding out the approximate time by using this equation. So you need not really bother if you find that the minutes are changing quite a lot. Here again, once I have got my time, I have got the declination. Now again I have got two possibilities, either it is north latitude or south latitude, though I know the declination is south, so either it can be the same name or different names. And these figures are not to the scale, I've just made it just for explaining it to you here. And this is your, when we talk about altitude is the arc of the vertical circle to the rational horizon. Here it is 14 degrees, so this figure is not exactly right. This is just only for making you understand. So declination is 18. So if I took my declination and my zenith distance, it will be added and I will get my latitude as 93, which is not possible. So this possibility is gone. So the other possibility holds good here. You have your zenith distance and declination. And now seems reasonable. Of course, this might not be the case in most of the cases. It's just a coincidence that I'm getting a latitude of more than 73. The whole thing is about trying to get you to understand these figures and be able to draw these figures. As I said, trying to figure out if it is north or south bearing is still that you will have to know how to draw these figures. So this is, I'm just trying to put more importance into the figure drawing topic what I had done earlier with you. So you can figure out which one is the correct one. Of course, as I said, something would be given to you in the question always. Either the DR latitude will be given, or it is body is north or south of the observer, or something like that will be given, so that you really don't have to go into these two possibilities. But as I said, I'm just trying to emphasize on figure drawing, and that is why I have done this part of it. And I get my declination, and I can figure out which is my correct answer. And this is the link for the video on figure drawing. So this is the figure what I have drawn on observer's meridian. As I said, something would be given to you. Here the latitude was given to me, which I had omitted purposely. There's another question here in which your DR is very close to the equator. Now we know how to find out the time of meridian passage, either using the almanac or 360, and you get your GHA increment. When it is sun, there is no V correction, so you straight away get your GHA from here, an increment, and you can go to your increment table for sun and get the minutes and seconds. Now this is your exact time for meridian passage if it has been asked in your examination. Otherwise, you can always use the time what is given in your almanac here. Now the thing has been calculated here up to meridian zenith distance. I get my declination from here, and I see that it is reducing, so I put minus declination north. Again, it has not been given to me is it north or south. There is no bearing given to me. This is straight away simple questions. So here the importance of understanding the diagram is there. So it can be two possibilities, either it's north latitude or south latitude with declination can be north in either cases. Again, this diagram is not to the scale. This is just for explaining part of it. Now the second possibility. Now here, if I go in for this latitude and declination, same name, my declination is there, my declination zenith distance, and I get my latitude as 16 degrees north, which is not correct. So this diagram is of no use. This possibility is not there. The other possibility of zenith distance minus declination. So this is the correct figure, and this is the correct answer here. Now you can check up this question again. Try to do it with 1st December 1992 and see what the results are. These are the figures what we had talked about earlier, which I'll be discussing with you, which I have already discussed with you how to go about finding out your latitude on when you have the altitude and meridian passage with same names, different names, and declination being greater than latitude. Now this is the next topic what we'll be discussing with you about circumpolar bodies. So the next topic would be circumpolar bodies. Thank you.